So first, we'll start with discussing operators, and briefly I will discuss what are the different operators are available with some example programs. And major topic for today's session is functions, how to write functions, what are the use cases of functions, and how to use those functions. We will see with an example programs. And regarding operators, I have some sample document where contains all the operators and some simple Python programs. And I'm going to show some operators what are there in Python. So that is arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, and some special operators provided by Python. What are those special operators? We are going to discuss. And all we know about arithmetic operators, what are the different arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So whenever you are doing some mathematical operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, so all these operations from our childhood onwards, we are using plus, minus. So all those operators are also available in Python also. Multiplication operator and a division operator. And in addition to this, in Python, we are having one more operator, modular division, and one more operator. So I will explain what is the functionality of these two operators. Apart from this, we well know all these arithmetic operators. Means plus means for addition, minus is for subtraction, star is for multiplication, and division. So this double slash is called as floor division, and there is one more operator called as double star. Like if I wanted to calculate a power b or something, if I wanted to calculate power operation, then star, double star operator. So this double star is also called as exponential or power operator. So power operator. So what is the use case of this double slash, and what is the difference between slash and double slash? Because whenever if someone is asking some questions on Python, you may get some question on this double slash. So what is the difference between single slash and double slash? I will execute this program and I will show you. So for example, just performing some simple arithmetic operations, a plus b, a minus b, a into b. Up to this, it is very simple. We know all these operators. The thing we need to know is what is double slash and single slash difference and modulo division. I hope in previous some other session I showed about the percentage operation, that is modulo division. When we worked writing a even finding even numbers, this modulo division what it will do means it will gives you reminder of the when you are performing a by b, it will returns a reminder value. So it is also clear. Just we need to see what is the difference between a by b, a double slash b. So this is called as floor division operator. So these all operators are arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators. So just see the output of this. So 10 plus 2, 12, 10 minus 2, 8, 10 into 2, 20. So up to these three operations, very much clear. And A by B, A double slash B. So what it will do means, it will gives you, so here what I can do is, instead of 10, I can take 11 so that you can better understand what is the difference between A by B, A double slash B means A division B, it will gives you floating point also, and A floor division B, it will gives only integer value. So see here, again I will execute. If you see 11 by 2, it is giving floating point 5.5. But A floor division B, it will returns only integer value, integer coefficient. So it will return if you divide 11 by 2 and So 5, 2 5s are 10, remainder is 1, right? It will not further division with the floating point values. It will returns you only integer value. So that is the only difference between single slash and double slash, that is floor division. Normal division, it will gives you floating point value, and floor division, it will gives you only integer value. And so what is this power operator means? Nothing but 11, A is 11, B is 2, right? It will calculate 11 power 2, that is 11 square, that is 11 into 11, that is 121. So this is power operator. Power operator. Something extra added in Python is this float division you need to remember. In other languages also we are having all this power operator, modulo division and everything. Only thing you need to remember in this arithmetic operators, what this floor division and normal division are difference. These are about arithmetic operators, and we are having some relational operators. So maybe I will share this document also later with you. You can refer all these examples. And so what is this relational operators will do means it will perform the comparison between two variables, and whether it is true or false, it will return. If it is true, then it will return true. If it is false, then it will return false. So relational operators. So see here. So A equal to 10, B equal to 20. And so first condition, see here, A greater than B. So A greater than B. So A value is 10 and B value is 20. So 10 greater than 20. So what is the value? Here it is false, because 10 is less than 20. And even you can see 10 greater than or equal to 20. Even this is also false. 10 greater than or equal to 20 also false. And 10 less than 20, this is true. 10 less than 20, this is true. So what these relational operators will do means it will compare two operands and it will check whether the condition is satisfied or not. If the condition is true, then it will return true. If the condition is false, it will return false. And similarly, 10 less than or equal to 20. So that is also true. And the output what we are going to get if I run this program is false, false, true, and true. So these relational operators, also called as comparison operators, which are used to compare the two variables based on the condition, and then it will return true or false. So these are relational operators. So relational operators compare the condition, and if it is true or false, then it will return that value. And next we are having some other operators. So just I will share this document. Maybe you can execute all these examples. Even you can compare true greater than true. So that is false, because true double equal to true, right? It will return false. 2 greater than or equal to true. So greater than or equal to means I am checking whether it is greater or equal to. So then it will return true. So 10 greater than true. So because mathematically why it is giving true is, just I will execute this and show you. So you can see 10 greater than true. Mathematically, what is the true value? True is nothing but 1, right? So 10 greater than 1. So that is true. So then it will return. So basically, whenever you are going to use relational operators, it will check the condition is true or false. Then it will return finally either true or false. So these are relational operators. And equality operators means which are used to compare whether both are equal or not. So these double equal to and not equal to, these are the two operators, equality operators. So what these equality operators will do means whether both are equal or not. So double equal to is one equality operator, not equal to is another equality operator. So A double equal to B means it is always equal, then only it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Not equal to means if it is not equal, then only it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So for example, if you write A equal to 10, B equal to 10, print A double equal to B. So because 10 always equal to 10, then it will return true. And A equal to 10, B equal to 20. So print A double equal to B. So then it will returns false. So because 10 not equal to 20. So same if I write 10 not equal to 20, so then it is true. So because 10 not equal to 20, right, then it will returns true. So these equality operators which will check two operands are exactly equal or not. So which will check whether those are exactly equal or not. So for example, in previous programs also we are checking username and password. So we are username and password and we are checking whether the person is authorized or not. Here we are using equality operator, and here we are checking whether the username and password not equal to empty. Then we are entering into this condition and we are checking whether the person username is double equal to means whether it is matching with the username and password. In this case, we are using equality operator double equal to. So these equality operators which are used to check whether both are double equal means exactly equal or not. So these are equality operators. And these logical operators maybe in your mathematics or somewhere you learned about logical operators like A and B. So this is one logical operator. So this is something like in your mathematics, something somewhere you are logical programming, somewhere you learn this one, right? For example, A is one expression, B is another expression. So A is one expression, B is another expression, A and B. So what it will do? So if both conditions are true, then only it will return true. So true. Yes, yes. So somewhere you learn in mathematics or logical programming, somewhere you can learn these logical operators. So if both conditions are true, then only it will return true. Otherwise, remaining all the cases, it is false. So false true, it is false, and false false, true false also false, and false false also false. So only one place where it is true is if both conditions are true, then only it will return true. Simply, if you wanted to say 1 and 0, also you can say because false means 0, true is 1, right? Always, if both are 1, then only it will return 1. Otherwise, remaining all the times, it will return 0. So similar case for A or B. So A and A or B. So what it will do means only if both are false, then only it will return false. Otherwise, remaining all the times, it is true. So that is true, true, it is true, and true, false, also it is true, false, true, also true, false, true, also true. Only if both conditions are false, then only it will return false. So these are logical operators. And so this is logical and this is logical or, and there is one more operator called as logical not operator. So what is not operator means? So for example, so A is some condition, not of A means, so if it is true, then it will return false. If it is false, then it will return true. So opposite of that condition. If it is false, then it will return true. So these are some logical operators. So similar way, you can see some example program. So okay, I will take some example. So let us take A equal to 10, B equal to 20, C equal to 30, something like this. So print A less than B and B less than C. B less than C. So condition 1, it will check condition 1, condition true, and C and means condition 1 and condition 2. So see here, in this case, A less than B, that is 10 less than 20. And another condition is 20 less than 30. So nothing but true and true, then it will return true. So why I am arriving at a true is, if both conditions are true, then it is returning true. If any of the condition is false, then it will return false. So for example, I am making this as greater than. Here 10 greater than 10 less than 20, that is true, but 20 greater than 30, that is false. Nothing but true and false, it will return false. If any of the condition is false, then it will return false. This is logical and operator. And similarly, logical OR operator, same thing. If I apply OR operator, if any condition is true, then it will return true. If I apply OR operator, if any condition is true, then it will return true. So that is true or false, then output is true. So output is true. Only if both conditions are false, then only it will return false. If both conditions are false, then only it will be false. So for example, take some simple scenario and where something student has to join my college, where I am providing the condition if the student having the distinction and he passed the BTech, then only I am allowing for MTech joining. So I wanted to allow the student where he passed the BTech as well as his grade is some distinction, means greater than or equal to 70%. So what in that case, what I need to use the operator is AND operator. So where I'm expecting both conditions are true. So he should pass BTech and getting more than distinction. That is my criteria. In that case, I need to apply AND operator. So my scenario is something like I wanted to provide interview for the student where either he passed BTech or MTech. So my condition is I wanted to allow both the students or anyone, means either they passed BTech or MTech or both, then I wanted to allow. In that case, I can go with or operator, either study equal to BTech or study equal to MTech, then I can allow him for interview. Means based on my requirement, I can use or operator or AND operator. If I need both conditions always true, then go with AND operator. If I want any of the condition is true, then I need to make it as a true, then go with OR operator. So these about logical operators. So based on our requirement in the future applications, wherever it is required, we are going to use this operator. These are logical operators. Next, assignment operators, or simply we can say shorthand operators also. Shorthand operators. So these are some assignment operators. So what is the meaning of A plus equal to B? So nothing but these are also called as shorthand operators. A plus equal to B is also can be written as A equal to A plus B. So if the left side value, if the right side value is same, then we can prepare a shorthand operator like this. A plus equal to B is nothing but A equal to A plus B. So for example, if I add something A equal to 10, B equal to 20, A plus equal to B, print A, print A. You can see what output we will get here. So what output we are getting is in A. So A plus equal to B, right? A plus equal to B, nothing but A equal to A plus B, A equal to A plus B, nothing but A value is 10 plus 20, and again we are storing that value in A. So actually I assigned 10 only. How I am getting if I print A equal to 30 is, I am adding A plus equal to B is nothing but I am adding A equal to A plus B, that is 10 plus 20. Now the value of A is 30. So like this, same operation, minus equal to means A equal to A minus B, A equal to A into B, A equal to A by B, and so on. Just maybe later you can practice all these examples. So these are also called as shorthand operators. Whenever the left side value and right side immediate starting value is same, we can use this shorthand operators or assignment operators or assignment operators. So these are assignment operators. And next type of category of operator we are having ternary operator. So this is the syntax and this is example. I will explain what is this ternary operator will do means. So what this ternary operator will do here is, so syntax of ternary operator is, what it will do means, if the condition is true, if the condition is true, the syntax indicates that x equal to something, see here, x equal to A if A greater than B, else B. So what it will do means, if the condition is true, it will return the first value. If the condition is false, then it will return the second value. So in a simple ternary operator is x equal to first value if condition is true, else it will assign this second value. So see this simple example program. So what I am doing is I am reading two values, enter first value and second value. What I am trying to achieve in this program is find the minimum value from the entered two values. So what this programming is doing is find the minimum value. Find the minimum of two numbers. So first I'm entering first number and second number, and then I'm checking A if A less than B, else B. So what is the condition here is, just execute this program and see. So enter first value 10, 20. So minimum value is 10. So how it is calculating is, so by using this ternary operator. So what it is doing is A if A less than B. So I entered 10 is for A. If A less than B, else 20. So what it is doing is it is checking that condition whether A less than B, that is 10 less than 20. So since the condition is satisfied, it is returning the first value. If the condition is not satisfied, it will return the second value. Let us try to execute the program. 25 is my first number and 12 is second number. So how it is returning the second value means, since 25 less than 12 it is false, so it will return second value. So the syntax of this ternary operator is, so variable equal to first value if condition is true, else second value. So here we are going to write our condition and we are going to return first value if the condition is true, else it will return second value. This is about ternary operator, and we are having last kind of operator, that is special operator, identity operators and membership operators. In identity operators, we are having is and is not. So identity operators are is and is not. So identity operators, mostly whenever you are writing looping statements, we are going to use this membership operators, identity operators. So is and is not. So what it will do means, so let us take two values. See here, is what it will do means like equality operator. I can say is and is not will do similar like equality operator. If both are equal, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Means exactly equal. So print A is B. A is B. Nothing but 10 is 10 only. So it will check exact equality. So in Python, instead of equality operator also, you can use this is operator, which will check whether both are exactly equal or not. So for this, it will check whether both are exactly equal or not. Whether both are exactly equal or not. Exactly equal or not. And is not means if it is not equal, then only it will return true. For example, if I do the same thing, if I apply is not, so is not means if it is not equal, then only it will return true. But here a equal to 10, b equal to 10, both are equal, right? Then it will return false. Because 10 is always equal to 10. And what I'm writing is 10 is not 10 I'm writing. Means I'm giving some false statement here, then it will return false. So this is identity operator. And we are having one more operator called as membership operator. Membership operator. So in and not in. Already in operator, if you remember for loop, we use this in operator. So what it will check means whether the required value is there in that list or tuple or set or dictionary, which is used to check whether the value is there in that collection or not. So it will check these membership operators will check whether value present in the collection or not. Value present in collection or not. So if it is present, then it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. For example, list equal to Mukesh and Girish and so whatever the values you wanted to declare values and Jahangir. So this is my list, right? What I am checking is, so I am checking Mukesh in list. So this is my list, that is students names. Maybe I can give particular variable name, student names. So these are my student names. I'm checking whether Mukesh is there in student names or not. So what it will return is Mukesh, spelling mistake, right? I am giving something. So that's why if it is not there, then it will return false. So since it is there, it is returning true. So what I'm searching is whether Rakesh is there in my student list or not. Rakesh in student name. Since it is not there, then it will return false. So opposite to in, so there is one more operator called as not in. If it is not there, then it will return true. If it is there, then it will return false. So same thing, if I apply not in, not in. So if, since Rakesh is not there in student names, then it will return true. So in and not in means which are used to check whether the value present in the collection or not. Even whenever we return for loop, already we use this in operator. We can also say in one more way what this in operator will do means what I can say range of 10 to 20. So print I. So here whatever the value there in this range, I wanted to repeat for every value in this range. So what this in will do means for every value in this range, it will take all those values. It will repeat that for loop. So nothing but whatever the values in this range it is taking in order to consider for every value in this range, I am using this in operator. So we can say simply in order to find all the values in the list or tuple or set or dictionary, we are going to use this membership operator. Here also what this in operator will do means it will search every name in the list and it will find whether the name is present in the list or not. If it is not there, it will return false. If it is there, then it will return true. So what this in operator will do means it will search the entire list or tuple or set or dictionary. So whatever the values are there in the list or tuple or set or dictionary, it will search entire values in the dictionary or list or tuple or set. So to perform the to repeat all the values in the collection, we are going to use this membership operator, either in or not in. So mostly we are going to use in operator, and if you wanted to perform opposite operation, we are going to use not in operator. So these are some operators. Maybe I will share this document later. You can go through this. You can easily understand all these operators. So that's why I'm spending some less time on these operators, but you can easily understand all these operators. Next, very important is these functions. So very, very important. So one of the important concept of Python is functions. So after these functions, we are going to discuss some use case and packages and modules. Maybe in next session, we are going to discuss packages and modules. That we discuss in the next session. First, we need to understand what is a function and how to write a function. What are the different ways to call a function? That kind of information we are going to discuss. What are the different parameters to a function? How to pass those parameters? All the things we are going to discuss in this session. So if you remember our first session, I discussed something about functions. So why exactly we require functions? So if you remember our first session, already we discussed something about functions. A function is nothing but block of code. Block of code. So why we are going to write a block of code is to perform a specific task. To perform a specific task. To perform a specific task. So why we are preparing a functions? Next question, why we are preparing functions? So for example, already I given some simple example which you can understand function in our first session only. For example, you are designing a very big web application. So web application, you are preparing something, some very big web application. So where you are having lot of web pages. So web pages, nothing but HTML pages or something. You design a lot of web pages. So let us take some simple Facebook application. So in the Facebook application, you are having a lot of web pages like friends request or social media information or messages information or chatting information or person's information. A lot of pages will be there, right? So for example, you are having some 10 pages, web pages. So some 10 web pages. You need to perform some specific task which is used in all the web pages. For example, if I wanted to see my friend's information, first I need to be a authorized user to view my friend's information. If I wanted to chat with my friend, I want to be a authorized person, then means first I need to send a friend request, and if he is in my friend request I can chat, or something vice versa. So for example, if you see LinkedIn, only if you are a friend, then only you are able to chat. Otherwise, you need to be a premium member. Then means lot of conditions we can apply. So for example, I wanted to perform authorization in each and every page. Authorization. Authorization means I need to check username and password is entered is whether he is a authorized user, username and password. This logic I need to check in each page. Let us say I written some 10 lines of code for 10 lines of code for so this authorization. So in order to check whether the authorized person or not, I written some 10 lines of code. I have 10 web pages. In each page, I need to perform this authorization. So if I try to write everything in every page, so 10 into 10, I need to write 100 lines of code. Unnecessarily, I'm repeating the same code in multiple pages. So what we are doing here is we are repeating the same code in multiple pages. So instead of writing the same code, means the same code repeating in multiple web pages unnecessarily. Same code in page 1, page 2, page 3, and so on. Page n, I'm writing the same code. So instead of that, what we can do is we can prepare functions. We'll see the syntax, what are the different ways of writing a function. We can prepare, let us say this is my authorization function, and prepare whatever the lines of code do you have, that is 10 lines or 20 lines, whatever the code you have, prepare those many lines of code. And so once if you prepare this function, so for example, if I need this function in page 1, I can simply call with that function name. If I need in page 2, I can invoke with that function name where I can get the entire functionality of that function. No need to write multiple times. Just with that function name, I can invoke wherever it is required. So main thing with the function is reusability. Reusability. So instead of writing the same repeatable code multiple times, what we can do is we can reuse that code wherever it is required. Instead of writing multiple times that code, we can reuse that code that is required. So now next thing is how to write a function. What is the syntax? What is the function syntax in Python? One of the keyword which we are going to use is def keyword. So in order to write a function code, what keyword we need to use is def keyword, which is mandatory keyword. Def function name, function name parameters, and what I am telling is it is a block of code, means where we are going to declare multiple lines of code, right? In order to declare multiple lines of logic, what we need to follow, so if you remember our yesterday's session, we need to follow indentation, means whatever the lines of code which are there with the same column space, then only it will consider within that block. So here the concept is indentation. And if I wanted to return any value from this function, we are having one keyword called as return keyword. So return keyword to return value. So this is the basic syntax of the function. And if you remember our yesterday's session, you can understand indentation. Whatever the statements which are outside this indentation are not into that function. So for example, if I write some print statement or some other logic here, so this is not into this function. Only which are following this indentation are into this function. Here in this syntax, which are mandatory, def keyword is mandatory. In order to declare a function, def keyword is mandatory. Def is mandatory. Keyword in order to declare the function, def keyword is mandatory. And function name is also mandatory. We are going to declare function name. What is the name we wanted to given, whether it is addition function or subtraction function or calculator function or authorization function, means whatever the name you wanted to give, you can give the function name. And parameters are optional. We will see what are those parameters, how to pass it. So these are optional. And so this block of code, it will vary based on your requirement. So this block of code here, we are going to call it as a function logic. Function logic. So this logic will change based on your user requirement. So whatever the logic, whatever operation you wanted to perform, so logic based on your function, it will change based on your requirement. You need to write the logic. And so this return value is also optional. Return value also optional. So what are mandatory keywords is def keyword is mandatory, function name, and logic based on your requirement. You may write 5 lines or 10 lines or 100 lines based on your requirement, and return value is also optional. So this is syntax of our Python function. Then we'll see with an example. So parameters, no need to worry. We'll see with a lot of examples now. And what is return value? We'll see with an example. Let us go to some here Jupyter notebook. We are discussing functions. Functions. How to write a function is def keyword. So let us say we'll write simple function, welcome function. And so now in this function, I'm not going to show the parameters. In the next example, we'll see with parameters. Let us say this function, I'm writing some statements, print welcome to NIT Silchar and something print welcome Mukesh, Girish, Mukesh, Girish, and Jahangir, and so on. And whatever the logic. For example, I wanted to read username and password, and I wanted to check that logic whether it is authorized user or not. Here, I'm not writing that logic. Just I'm explaining what the function will do here. So you can write the your user required logic here in this function, and you can write n number of statements. It is not limited to write only some 2 statements or 10 statements. You can write your required logic. Your required logic here you can write. So this is function declaration. So we can call it as function declaration. Simply function implementation. Function implementation. Once if you write your function, now my function is ready. Whatever the logic I want, my function is ready. Here, how to see the output of this function. So next is you need to invoke that function in order to see the output. Function invocation. Function invocation. So you need to invoke that function in order to see the output. So you need to call that function with function name. So then you are able to see the output of that function. So whatever the logic you written, right, it will display or it will perform the required logic. We'll see next examples. And see here, you can no need to write that code multiple times wherever it is required. If you want in 10 web pages or 100 web pages, wherever you want, just invoke with that function name. It will perform the required logic for you. So what is the advantage here is instead of writing these 3 lines or 10 lines or 100 lines of code, whatever you have, just prepare a function and you can directly able to invoke this function wherever it is required. So wherever it is required, you can able to invoke this function and no need to write the same logic multiple times. So this is the advantage. Now we will go deeper into what are the parameters, what is return statement, and what are those. We'll see an example. So based on our requirement, so next we'll see an example for parameters passing. Parameters. So based on my requirement, I need to pass the values to function. Parameters means passing values to function. Passing values to function. For example, if you see the previous example, what I did is I have hard coded the here the names, right? Mukesh, Girish, Jahangir, all these names I have hard coded. But I don't want it to hard code. Dynamically, the user will enter Mukesh or Rakesh or Girish or Ishwar or something. I wanted to welcome the corresponding person. Means I need to read the value from the keyboard. I need to take that value to this function. I need to welcome the particular user. So let us see same function. See here. So welcome function, I will modify something. Here, I wanted to pass the name or names. If you wanted to pass multiple names also you can pass. So let us say I wanted to pass the name and based on the name I got from this function, I need to welcome. So something hi, so name, welcome to Python sessions. So what I'm doing is I'm passing name to this function. This name I'm using hi Mukesh or hi Girish or hi Ishwar. Welcome to Python sessions. So now the thing is where I can pass this name. So how to pass my name or some student name in order to welcome that student. So first I need to read, if you wanted to read it from the keyboard, name equal to input, enter student name, enter student name. So now I need to pass that name to this function. So welcome name. Execute this. You can see enter student name. Let us say Mukesh. You can see hi, welcome to NIT Silchar. Hi Mukesh, welcome to Python sessions. So in the previous example, I didn't pass anything. Just I declared some function where I am hard coding some names or some logic, whatever I required, and then I'm printing or I'm using that logic of the function. Here, what I'm doing is I'm passing the required parameters to the function to perform the required logic. Let us see one more example. Write a Python function to perform calculator operation. To perform calculator operation. To perform calculator operation. So for example, def calculator. Here I'm passing two numbers, number one, number two, and so addition equal to a plus b, subtraction equal to a minus b, multiplication equal to a into b, division equal to a by b. Print addition is So for example, the calculator operation, it is required in multiple web pages. Instead of writing in the multiple web pages, same code, what I can do is I can prepare the function. I can use this function wherever it is required. Addition is this, and print multiplication, print subtraction is, and print division is. So you can execute this program. Here it will not display any output. When it will display the output of this function is if you invoke this function, you can perform the required operation. So in order to execute this, here just I will hard code the values, but you can read number one if you want. You can read number one equal to from the keyboard, int of input, enter number one, enter number one, and similarly you can enter number two, and perform calculator operation. Here what I need to pass is number one and number two, number one and number two. So execute this program and see the output. So number one is 10, number two is 5, and so on. So see here, addition is what happened, a plus b, number one, number two, enter number two. So 10 plus addition, something we did wrong, addition, a plus b, number one. Oh, see here, what I entered is number one, number two. So why we got some wrong results? See here, previously I have some AB values in my program, right? So it is taking those AB values, but I am passing number one and number two, right? So that's why I'm getting some wrong result. So I confused how it will be 10 plus 5 is 20. Here I'm using number one and number two. So I need to use number one and number two. So it is having some old values, cached values. That's why it is giving some wrong result. Because in my program, somewhere A equal to something and B equal to something, A equal to 10, B equal to 10, something we did, right? So that's why it is giving some wrong result. Number one divided by number two. So execute this and execute this, 10 and 5. Now you can see 10 plus 5 is 15, and so 10 into 5 is 50, and so on. You can execute this number 2 minus number 2. Here also I did some mistake, that why to 5 minus 5 it is given 0, right? So that is correct. That's fine. So whatever the logic we written, based on that it is giving, right? Why 5 0 I got in the subtraction is number 2 minus number 2 I did, that is 5 minus 5, 0. So just what I mean to say here is, first declare your function with the required logic, and then you can able to pass the required parameters, and you can invoke that function wherever it is required. So it is not only here, you can invoke in multiple web pages, multiple locations, wherever you are having your function is required. Just you can use that function wherever it is required. This is about with parameters. There is one more thing I am telling, right? Return value. So what is return value? So how to return the value from the function? How to return the value from the function? Here, if you see in my program, what I am doing is I am performing some calculations. In the program itself, I am printing all those things. But what is my requirement is in this program, in this function, I wanted to perform the required operation. I wanted to perform this required operation. And after performing this required operation, I need to return the value to the user where he is invoking my function. So wherever he is invoking, I need to return the value. So return addition. So after performing the required operation, I wanted to return this value to the user. So see here. So I wanted to return this value to the user. So just a minute. So see here in this program, what I am doing is I am not printing anything or I am not displaying anything in the function. Instead of displaying that function value, what I am doing is after doing those calculations, I am returning those values to the user. So first, I am invoking, I am reading those two numbers. I'm reading those two numbers and I am passing these two values to the function. And what is the output of the function here is it will return the addition value from the function. So I can use this value here once after performing the operation. And if you wanted to use this value, you can use this calculated value. See here. So enter number 1, 10, number 2, 20, 10 plus 20, that is 30. Here in the function, I'm not printing anything. So instead of that, what I'm doing is I'm returning that value to the user. He can use that required value. So for example, I return the authorization function. In that function, just I'm checking whether the person is authorized or not. And that result I'm passing it to the user in the web page where he can use that my value. So this is about return value. This is about parameters. So there will be different ways of writing a function, that is function without parameters. Yes, can we return multiple things? That's what our next example I will explain. How to return multiple values. In Python, it will supports returning multiple values. So first syntax of writing function is function without parameters, without return value, without return value, without return value, and function with parameters without return value. There are four combinations based on your requirement. You can pass the values, you can return the value, you don't if you don't want to return the value, or you can do both operations. There are four combinations you can write, that is function without parameter and with return value, with return value, and last one is function with parameters, with parameters and with return value, with return value. So based on your requirement, you can declare your function without parameters, with return without return value. So our first example is of the kind. So here in this example, I'm not passing any parameters, I'm not passing any return value. So this is function without parameter and without return value, without parameter and without return value. And next, next example is function with parameter without return value. And this example is function, where is that example? Function with parameters without return value. And this example is function with parameters with return value. And there is one more syntax, right? So for example, a display function or something where I'm not passing anything, return welcome to Python. So just I'm returning some string. So message equal to display. So print message. So what it will return is, it will return that message. Here I am not passing anything to the function, without parameters and with return value based on your requirement, whether you wanted to pass the parameters or you don't wanted to pass the parameters, if you wanted to return the value, if you don't wanted to return the value. So these will be different ways of writing the function. And one person asking the question is whether I can return the multiple values. That is good question, because in Python it will support. In other programming languages it may not support returning multiple values, but in Python it will return. You can able to return multiple values, but the thing is how to extract those values. If I return multiple values, how to extract those multiple values? Let us take this example. So if I wanted to return all the calculated values, here it will allow returning multiple values, return, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Multiplication, addition, subtraction, and multiplication and division. So one note here is Python will support returning multiple values. The question is how to, if I return multiple values, how to return the multiple, how it is going to return the multiple values. So here it will return the values in the form of a tuple. It will return values in form of a tuple. In form of a tuple. So execute this and see the output. So let us say this is my function. Here I'm returning multiple values, right? What I will do is calculator, and I will pass something 10 and 5. See here, outcome or result, something I'm writing, result equal to this, and print result. So print result, this is one way to return, to extract those values. You can see it is going to return the tuple. So it is going to return the tuple. And previously, since I'm returning one value, so I'm assigning one variable, it is returning one value. And here I'm getting four values. Since it is returning four values, in what form it is returning? It is returning in the form of a tuple. If you wanted to extract all the values in the variable instead of a tuple, what you can do is, there are four values you are returning, right? Then you need to assign four variables, that is addition, whatever it may be, subtraction, multiplication, and division equal to calculator of 10.5, 10 comma 5. And so you need to return like this. If you are returning multiple values, so how many values you are returning, based on that you need to assign those many variables. If you assign a single variable, it will return in the form of a tuple. If you wanted to extract exact values, then you need to give those many variables here. So print addition is just, I can use this. So you can print the corresponding result. So now I'm extracting into the individual variable, right? I can able to access all those results. Addition is this, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You can see addition is 15, multiplication is 50. And next, your question may be, in case if I give the single variable, it is working fine. Since I am returning four values, I am assigning four variables, it is working fine. In case if I give only two variables here while extracting the return value, then what you will get is you will get error. So either one variable is fine or exact number of return values you are returning, that you need to mention. If you give one or not equal to those many numbers, other than that, then it will gives you error. You can see error by stating too many values to unpack. Expected to, because I'm expecting two values to unpack, but it is returning four values. Even if you give three also, it will return error. Either one or equal to number of return values is fine. If you give other than that, then it will return error. So too many values to unpack, expected is 3. So I'm expecting 3, but it is giving 4 values. The rule here, whenever you are returning multiple values is, so this is the rule you need to remember, or important note. So when you are returning multiple values, so either it should be 1 or equal to the return values, equal to the return values. So if it is 1, it is in the form of a tuple. If it is equal to the return values, then it will individual values will be stored in the variable. If you give other than this, then it will gives you error. So that is the rule you need to remember. And we are having some other concepts in functions. So this is the rule you need to remember. Either you need to give the 1 or equal to the number of values it is returning. Otherwise, if you give more not equal to 1 or not equal to the equal number of values it is returning, then it will return error. And next concept is, what are the different types of parameters? Types of parameters. So this is also one of the important concept. Whenever you are writing Python applications, you need to think of what kind of parameters I require whenever you are working with functions. So here, whenever you are using a Python function, there are four types of parameters: positional parameters, positional parameters, keyword parameters or keyword arguments, I can say. So these parameters also called as arguments. Maybe don't confuse, some other places they will explain arguments and parameters. Both are same names. Either keyword parameters or keyword arguments, or positional parameters or positional arguments. And next, default arguments. Default arguments. And next, variable length arguments. We will discuss one by one when I need to use what kind of parameters. Variable length arguments. So default parameters. So these are the four parameters in the Python functions. One is positional parameters. So what is positional parameters is, whenever you declared a Python function, the position is important. So for example, def function 1, you declared some function 1 and you are having 10 parameters or 5 parameters A, B, C, D, number 1, number 2, number 3 and so on. Here if I declare at first position A means it will take whatever the value you are going to pass, it will take it for A. If I pass second value means it will take the value for B. If I pass third value means it will take the value for C. If I take fourth value means it will take the value for D. Means based on the position it will pass the values to the corresponding parameter. So whatever we discussed are those examples for positional parameters. So whatever the examples we discussed, this calculator function, all these functions we discussed, right? All those are the positional parameters. For example, let us take some simple program, subtract function, number 1, number 2, and so print number 1 minus number 2. So let us say this is the program, and so I'm calling this subtract function. So I'm passing 10 to number 1 and 20 to number 2. Means what it will do means it will check the position. Whatever the first position, it will assign it to the first parameter. Whatever the second position, it will assign the value to the second parameter. So execute it. So for example, what the user did is, what is the disadvantage here is, it will consider only position. It will consider only position. Means it is not checking the name of the variable. By mistake, actually user wants to pass, for example, by mistake, the user passed 10 to the number 1 and 20 to the number 2, but actually he is expecting to pass the value to number 1 is number 1 he is expecting to pass 20, number 2 he is expecting to pass 10, but by mistake he entered 10 and 20, so it is giving minus 10 result. Means in this case, whatever the position you are going to pass, it will consider only position, it will not consider the name of the parameter. The disadvantage here is it is not considering the name of the parameter, just it will check the position of the parameter. So next is keyword argument or keyword parameters. Keyword parameters. Keyword parameters. So in the keyword parameters, name is important, not the position. Name is important. Name is important, not the position. So how to pass the names that we'll see. Let us say I will write some function def display function. So display function. Let us say 4 variables I'm passing A, B, C, D and print A. So something A is A and so like positional parameter only, but while calling we can do call with names. So B is B is. So this is my function which is displaying all the 4 values which I am passing. And so if I don't pass keyword arguments, like if I do the positional values, what it will do means, for example, by mistake he passed 20 at first position, 40 at second position, and 30 at third position, and 10 at last position. Actually, the user is expecting to pass in this format. So actually the user is expecting 10, 20, 30, 40. But by mistake he passed 20 at first position, 40. So whatever the position you will pass, it will take that is positional parameter, right? But in the keyword parameter, what you can do is you can pass with the names. So in keyword, keyword, pass with the name, then it will take. For example, I'm interested to pass 20 to the B value, B equal to 20, and I'm interested to pass 40 to D, and for C 30, and for A 10. Here the position is not important. It will consider the name of the variable, name of the parameter, name of the parameter. You can see I am passing B equal to 20. At first position, actually I am passing 20, but I am passing with the name, right? Here, this kind of parameters, we can call it as a keyword parameters. Here, the name is important, not the position. The advantage of keyword arguments is name is important, not the position. You can pass at nth position, but if you pass with the name, then it will consider that name. So even then I am passing a equal to 10 at the last position, but it is considering the a value is 10. In the previous example, if I don't pass with the name, whatever the order you are passing, just it is taking the position, not the name. But here, if you pass with the name, it will check the name of the parameter, not the position. And here, in these two parameters, one more disadvantage is, so the disadvantage in these two parameters, either position or keyword argument, the advantage is you have to pass exact number of you have to pass exact number of parameters. You have to pass exact number of parameters. What it means? So for example, this is display function, right? So in the display function, how many parameters are there? There are four parameters. So there are four parameters. So let us try to pass only two parameters. Let us try to pass only two parameters. So it is giving missing required positional arguments C and D. So let us pass only one parameter. So missing B, C and D. So let us pass three parameters. So even then you are going to get error missing D. So if you pass only exact values, it is taking and it is working fine. If I don't pass exact values, then it is returning error. But my situation is, for example, if the user don't want pass any value, I need to take some default value. So for example, I'm asking the user to enter name, means I'm asking the user enter password, username, and location. In case if the user don't want to pass the location, then it has to take Hyderabad or Assam or Silchar, something. Let us say it has to, by default it has to take Silchar. If the user pass Silchar, or then means if the user pass other location, it has to take, otherwise it has to take Silchar as the location. Means I wanted to pass, even if the user don't pass the required numbers, it has to take the some default value. Let us take this example. Next parameter type is default parameters. Default parameters. Default parameters. So what is this default parameters will do means, let us take an example display function. So this is my display function. What I have to do here is I need to assign some default value. I need to assign some default value. If the user passes the value, it will take that value. Otherwise, it will take the default value. So see here. So what I am assigning is I am assigning with some default value. If the user don't passes any of these values, it will take the default value. So let us take display function. So what I will do is I don't pass anything. What it will take? It will take all the default values. That is A is 0, B is 0, C is 0, D is 0. In case I wanted to pass only one value, so what it will take is it will take the value for A equal to 10 and then remaining B, C, D are 0. And if you pass two values, it will consider first two values and it will take the remaining two values as 0. If you pass three values, it will take first three parameters and next last parameter is 0. If I pass all the values, then it will take the corresponding values. So the advantage here is it is not mandatory you need to pass the exact parameters. If you don't pass the exact parameters, it will take the default values for the parameter. So that is the advantage in default parameters. But in all three, there is one more disadvantage. It's either positional or keyword or default parameters. Default parameters. The disadvantage here is, so for example, my display function is having four parameters, but my requirement is I wanted to pass one, two, three, four. Up to four, it is working fine. If I wanted to pass n number of parameters, I don't know how many values user will enter. One, two, three, four, or 10 or 20 values he can enter. If I try to pass more than four, what it will happen is it will gives you error in first three kinds of parameter. So expecting 4, but it is giving 5. Means we mentioned 5, but it's expecting 4. If you pass n number of parameters, definitely it will gives you error, except if you pass only up to 4 parameters. Means 0 to 4 is allowed, but if you pass more than 4, it is giving error. So in that case, we are having last kind of parameters, that is variable length parameters. Variable length parameters. So we'll see with some simple example and we can end today's session for this variable length parameters. So my requirement is if the user don't pass, so write a addition program. If the user don't pass, so I need to add, means final result should be 0. If the user pass one parameter, so let us say if you passes 10, the output should be 10. If the user passes two parameters like 10 and 20, then the output should be 30. If the user passes three parameters, that is 10, 20, 30, the output should be 60. If the user passes four parameters, 10, 20, 30, 40, then output should be 100. If the user passes five parameters, means based on the number of parameters, it has to dynamically take 30, 40, 50. The output should be 150. The user can enter 10 numbers or 20 numbers or 100 numbers, but our function has to allow all those many values. That is our use case here. So how to declare a variable length parameters in Python is, so there is one, while passing the parameters, you need to use star. So let us see an example program for this. So first I will write the function here. So def addition program. So A and star and, so what is this star? How it will comes, that we will see. First I will tell you how it will take the values, then we can write this addition program. So print A. Yeah, so not A, just see this program. So what it will take means if you give star followed by that parameter, it will consider n number of parameters 0 to n. You can pass n number of parameters and here it will retrieve the values in terms of a tuple. So first call addition function, addition function. So let us say 10, addition function 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 and so on. You can see it is taking only single value, it is taking 60, or you can pass 100, means 6 values or 10 values or 100 values, you can pass n number of values. Now you got tuple here. So you got a tuple, right? You can write your required logic here, means addition or subtraction or multiplication or any other functionality here. So once if you got tuple, what you can do is you can iterate by using for loop, right? For I in n means you can get all the values here. So let us declare final result equal to. So first I will start with 0, result equal to result plus result plus I. So print final sum. Final sum is a result. So what I can do is I can show by sending single value, multiple values you can send. You can send 6 values or 10 values. You can send 100 values. There is no limitation here, like you need to pass only 4 values or 5 values and so on. You can pass n number of values. So first I pass 10, so sum is 10. So 10 plus 20, 30. So 10 plus 20 plus and so on. This is the sum. And for these values, this is the sum. Your based on your application, what you are designing. If your client will tell you need to restrict the user to use only those many number of parameters. So different scenarios, like if client says you need to restrict the user, you need to restrict the user to use only required number of parameters, only required number of parameters, then either you can use positional or positional or keyword. So either you can use positional or keyword if the client says you need to restrict the user with only those number of parameters. In this positional or keyword also, if the client says if user can enter any position, means user can enter any format, there is no restriction, you need to pass in first position, second position, third position, means you can use keyword. If the client says you need to pass only in the particular order, means then you need to use positional parameter. And if the client says if the user don't pass the required number of parameters, then you need to use default parameters, means you can use default values. And if the client says user can pass n number of values, then you need to allow the user to pass n number of values, means you need to use this variable length parameters. So based on our requirement, we need to use these parameters in our programming.